Aurora is a Vastayan bunny mage that has stealth, plenty of wall hopping skills, free hit passive and a pretty crazy ultimate. In today's video I'll show you her abilities, gameplay, I'll show you the tooltips of her spells and a lot of testing that I was able to do when Riot invited me to LA to check her out. Thanks to this, I'll be able to explain her kit in much more details than usual. Riot has worked on Aurora for 7 years. She is bringing diversity to League of Legends through the representation of autism. She can see the veil between spirit and material realms. She is a Freljordian witch. She is intended to be viable both mid and top lane, but it's also possible she will be playable in other roles, although that isn't a very high priority. Let's get straight to her abilities. Aurora's passive is called Spirit Abjuration. Wayward spirits are drawn to Aurora. If she damages an enemy 3 times with her spells or attacks, she will perform an exorcism, dealing percentage of enemy max health as magic damage and also freeing a spirit that will empower her healing every second, and she will also enter spirit mode, gaining percentage movement speed for 3 seconds. Every additional spirit that follows Aurora will further increase her bonus movement speed by 5%. Passive damage is 6% max HP and it also scales with AP. Each 100 AP equals 1% enemy max HP damage, and the movement speed part of her passive also scales with AP. 3% bonus movement speed per each 100 AP she has. As far as I know, this passive can only be stacked on champions and epic monsters. As you probably noticed, Aurora's passive is pretty stacked. It's a very important part of her kit. Aurora's Q is called Twofold Hex. She fires a blast of cursed energy in a direction, dealing magic damage to enemies hit and marking them with spirit energy. This ability overall is similar to Ahri's Q, but has a recast that is similar to Xayah E. Aurora can recast this ability to end the curse, draw back the spirit energy to herself and deal up to double the damage of first outgoing Q. But this is based on the missing health of enemies. So ideally you want to use it as an execute. First part of her Q is scaling with 30% AP and second part of it is scaling with up to 80% AP. Remember that her Q applies passive, so with Q itself you can already have 2 stacks of passive applied to the enemy. This ability is definitely Aurora's bread and butter and her primary source of damage. The cooldown of this ability is from 8 to 6 seconds. Aurora's W is called Across the Veil. She bunny hops in the direction. Upon landing, she becomes invisible for 1.4 seconds at rank 1, up to 2 seconds at rank 5 of this ability. She can move freely in that stealth, similarly to Shaco in his Q. This ability also makes her enter spirit mode, so she gets an extra movement speed. Takedowns on enemies within 3 seconds of damaging them also makes this ability refresh. With this, you can be a pretty big nuisance in a teamfight. Stealth in, get a kill or assist, stealth in again, get another kill, stealth in again, just like I'm trying here with dummies. Don't worry, your screen is not gonna be that dark, it was just me messing in practice tool. It's gonna be just like in another clips that you saw. Remember that this ability allows you to jump over walls. You can easily jump a Baron wall, or for example this wall near the river opposite to the dragon. Definitely worth learning those jumps. This ability has a cooldown of 18 seconds, down to 14 seconds when it is maxed. Aurora's E is called The Weirding. She unlocks a window to the spirit realm, which sends out a blast of spirit magic, dealing magic damage in an area and slowing enemies by 80%, decaying over 1 second. The force of this ability also knocks Aurora back, similarly to Graves' ult. This ability also applies passive. With this ability you can jump over some of the shortest walls on Summoner's Rift. The cooldown is 15 seconds at rank 1 and it goes down to 11 seconds at rank 5. And then finally, we have Aurora's ult. It's called Between Worlds. She unlocks a rift to the spirit realm, sending a pulse of energy that does magic damage and slows enemies hit by 30% for 2 seconds. This area merges with the spirit realm for 3 seconds, giving Aurora an empowered spirit mode, doubling her bonuses while she's inside of it and allowing her to travel from one end to the other by walking into its wall. You can travel from one end to the other multiple times in one cast. When Aurora travels from one side to the other, she cannot be targeted, and also she cannot use any spells. Oh, and she is also unstoppable during the casting part of ultimate. Any enemies that attempt to cross this threshold are going to be pushed back toward the center of the area and slowed by 75% for 1.5 seconds after being pushed. What is very important is that as an enemy, you cannot walk out of this ability. You can flash out of it, or you can get out of it by using a blink, like Ezreal's E. Normal dashes will not allow you to get out of this ability. Aurora cannot leave it herself even if she uses her W. That being said, she can recast this ability to cancel it, similarly to Jarvan ult. What's very important about this ability is its cast time. Why is it so important? If you cast this but then immediately walk outside of it, you are likely going to get out before the area is spawned, and this will result in an automatic cancel, so be careful when you use this ability when you are close to the edge of it. The duration of ult is 3, 3.5 and 4 seconds for levels 6, 11 and 16 respectively. The cooldown of this ability is 140 seconds at rank 1, 120 seconds at rank 2 and 100 seconds at rank 3. Of course I wouldn't be myself if I didn't try to bug this ability. I tried to use it in the base or an alcove, hoping I can maybe glitch out outside of the map, but didn't get much luck there. Now let's talk a bit more about her gameplay, items, etc. Aurora abilities use plenty of mana, 60, 80, 80 and 100 respectively. So rushing a mana item definitely seems like a solid idea. For items, you most likely want to go for a typical burst mage build, like Ludens, Rabadons and Zhonya's. For runes, we were suggested to try Electrocute for extra damage or Phase Rush to further increase Aurora's already high mobility. In terms of mobility, she can be somewhat compared to Lilia, but she also has stealth and more dashes. Speaking of dashes, learning which walls you can pass over with your W, E and ult is gonna be very important. Proper positioning is gonna be absolutely crucial when playing Aurora. She can output a lot of damage. Her basic combo is often going to be Q, E, Q. It's important to use your first Q before E, because after you use your E, you are knocked back. So if you did EQQ instead, it would be harder to reach your enemies with Q. Your second part of Q pulls are not range limited. In theory, you can even do Q into teleport into Q. The more units you hit with your first part of Q, the more damage you can deal on its way back. It's important to try to hit as many units as possible to maximize your damage. Aurora can also get very high movement speed, so she might be pretty annoying to play against in that regard. Catching her might be hard, but at least she is a pretty squishy champion. Hard CC is definitely going to be one of her worst enemies. If you have any questions regarding Aurora, feel free to ask. It is possible I might already be able to answer them. Let me know what you think about her. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.